Hello, my name is Susan Spangenberg, and welcome to my home, my art studio, my refuge, Issues Gallery in Jackson Heights, Queens, New York. My bedroom is also my seclusion room. The first painting I wanted to show you is Straitjacket Fetus, and during my time in and out the hospitals, I often wondered why I had a mental illness, and this piece is about me reflecting on that and the biology and how much genes play a part in predisposing us to mental illness. Let me invite you into my seclusion room. Growing up in Jackson Heights had its challenges. I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and I came from a very dysfunctional home. So my environment definitely played a part in my mental illness because I suffered from a lot of trauma. Here's a picture of me as a child where my father was always drinking and my parents were always fighting. There were police always over at the house, and in the eyes you'll see my father and the police beating my father up. Then this is a picture of my mother, and she's pulling my hair. And when I was 3 years old, she hit me over the forehead with a frying pan, and she held a butcher knife to my throat when I was 17. She was very abusive. She did a lot of bad things to me, but I won't go into that. But this is why she has horns sticking out of her head. That led me to, the abuse I suffered at the hands of my mother led me to doing these portraits of me screaming. Through the years, I've come up with different titles. The first title was Self-Portrait Screaming, and later it changed to Psychosis or Fear, and it keeps changing. But I kind of go with the first title. The second self-portrait is Depression, and these paintings I did at the Living Museum, which is an art rehab program on the grounds of Creedmoor Psychiatric Center where I was a patient. Me and Rob is a drawing I did of myself and my twin brother Robert, who died of a drug overdose when we were 18. I did the drawing on paper in a hospital. After I did that piece, I did Obituary Landscapes, which is me sitting on a tombstone on a large-scale, unstretched piece of canvas. It must be like 10 feet by 11 feet. And I'm sitting on my brother's tombstone, mourning for him and also courting death. So I happened to be suicidal at the time because I missed him, but also it's just a lot of things that happened in childhood, as well as my brother's death, that I didn't begin to address. But I started to address it when I found a wonderful therapist, and the piece I did, Death Drive, it's 24 by 36, it's acrylic and charcoal on canvas. It's hanging in my therapist's office to this day. Every time I go to therapy and lie on the couch, I don't always lie on the couch, but I often do now because it's been 10 years that I've been in therapy with him. And Death Drive at the time was me starting therapy, wondering why I was self-harming and going in and out of the hospitals, and I wanted it to stop. I wanted to feel better. So my therapist is very Freudian, and it's me driving the car, and I'm seducing Freud, and Freud is seducing me. it's also a reflection of Freud being my therapist, Freud being my father that was neglectful and didn't protect me from my mother. So it's very layered. So over the years, I've done a lot of pieces of art that reflect self-harm because it's what I was going through at the time. They go from works where I'm overdosing or cutting myself, burning myself with cigarettes. There's one painting of me called Girl in Restraints, looking through the seclusion room window because I was often restrained in the hospital, whether it was a psych ER or inpatient. And at one point I cut up one of my hospital gowns and used it in the piece, and I also used real leather for the straps. There's a lot of text in the background because it was a lot of trauma and things that I was afraid to talk about, but I couldn't get it out. So I tried to write it out, but I didn't want anyone to see it because it was so private. So a lot of the text is written where you can't see it because they're like my secrets, and I wasn't ready to talk about them yet at the time. And the ultimate painting of self-harm that I did was called Hung. And I did that in 2015, and it's based on a real life suicide attempt that I did in 2001 while an inpatient at St. Vincent's Hospital. And the reason why I did that painting reflecting on my real life suicide attempt trying to hang myself is that I wanted to move past it and think about living on a positive note and kill myself in the painting for all time, so I give myself the opportunity to live in real life and heal myself. So over the years, it's been hard to find the right medication because of all the bad side effects that happen when you take medication. This is one of the medications I was on. It's an antidepressant, and I'm actually on it again. I'm trying it again to see if it works. And this is a painting, mental hospital, and it represents myself, but all the patients that I met along the way in and out of hospitals. And it really just represents the fight that people with mental illness have for our rights, and to not be thrown in the back wards of a hospital and be forgotten, but to get out and have a decent life. And I think we all deserve that. So the most important part is the fist actually here. It's the black power fist that represents strength. And that's me, you, that's all of us. So thank you for joining me in my brief talk called Asylum Daze, relating to art and my mental illness. Hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more of my work with you. Stay cool.